The puck drops on the New York Rangers 2022-2023 regular season on Tuesday night. So let's preview the upcoming season for the Blueshirts and their first game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Here for some Rangers talk is New York Post Rangers beat reporter, that would be the great Mollie Walker. Mollie, how's it going? We are back to talk Rangers hockey.
I can't believe it. It was quite a short off season, but I guess that's a good thing for the Rangers.
Good thing for the Rangers. Not always so good for us that maybe want a little bit more time, more downtime to relax. But Mollie, coming off of last year's run to the conference finals, there are great expectations for this Rangers team this year. Is the expectation for this team to at least get back to where their season ended last spring, or is it Stanley Cup finals or bust?
I don't know about cup or bust, but for the first time in a while, the Rangers are flat out expected to not just make the playoffs, but to be legitimate contenders for the Stanley Cup. The team hasn't had to face these kinds of expectations in a while, and that'll be a tricky thing to navigate by itself. But between the experience they gained during their run to the Eastern Conference Final last season and the roster tweaks that were made in the offseason, the expectations are warranted. And when you have a goalie like Igor Shesterkin coming off a Vezina Trophy winning season, it just seems like anything is possible for the Rangers.
Anything is possible indeed for the Rangers. Now, when it comes to looking at teams, you want to look at what they've gained or they lost. But when you look at what the Rangers lost this offseason, longtime center Ryan Strome, he's gone. Plus, the guys that they acquired at the deadline last year didn't return. And there were some solid vets. So with those players not on the roster, how much pressure does it put on the Rangers' young core? And who can you see stepping up among that young core?
A lot of the Rangers' success this season is going to hinge on the Rangers' young core of players and their contributions. But the belief is that last season's playoff run should have prepared them for this. Like you mentioned, the Rangers lost a good portion of the top six they played with in the playoffs, and those roles will have to be taken on by some of the younger players. Right now, it's looking like Kaapo Kakko will get the first crack at the top line with Chris Kreider and Mika Zibanejad, and Vitaly Kravtsov will get the first chance on the second line with Artemi Panarin and Vincent Trocheck. Kakko has had a good camp. He scored a couple goals in the preseason, and of course, he's looking to redeem himself after he was scratched in Game 6 against the Lightning. Philip Hedl is another young guy who had a terrific playoff run, and he should come into this season with a lot of confidence. The same goes for Alexis Lafreniere and defenseman Keandre Miller. All of those guys are going to be super important for the Rangers this season.
All right, so Ranger fans going to keep their eyes on those young guys. And when you look at what went right for the Blue Shirts last year, Mollie, you got to start with Vezina Trophy winner Igor Shesterkin, the goaltender. He played at such a high level, as you know. Does he have to perform at that level again for New York to have the success that they hope to have?
The Rangers certainly hope Igor Shesterkin can do it all again this season, but there's obviously no guarantee. The team also knows they can't rely on him as heavily as they did, especially at the start of last season. But the Rangers have adopted this attitude that they shouldn't have to apologize for having the best goalie in the league, and they absolutely shouldn't. But that doesn't mean they can't try to alleviate some of the pressure off of him. And Shesterkin is obviously a major part of this team, though. So an encore from him would certainly set them up for tremendous success.
Now, let's go to Game 1. We are here. Start of the season, Mollie. Got to talk about Game 1. First game, Tuesday night. Rangers have to face off against a team that stopped their Stanley Cup dreams. That would be the Tampa Bay Lightning. Are the Rangers focused on making a statement here and sending the Lightning a message in the season opener?
Absolutely not. If you know Rangers head coach Gerard Gallant, you know he's not putting any emphasis on who is on the other side of the ice. It doesn't matter to them. Of course, the Lightning have been a dominant team for a few years now, so a win on opening night would definitely be a confidence booster, but that would be true no matter who they played.
No matter who they play, they're going to have that focused on opening night. No message being sent there if you were looking for that, fans. Now, last season, Mollie, the defense was pretty strong. They allowed 2.49 goals per game. So here's an over-under question for you. Do the Rangers allow less than 3 goals in their first game against the Lightning, and why?
It's tough to say, but I imagine with Andrei Vasilevskiy in one net and Igor Shesterkin in the other, it's probably the safer bet on a low-scoring game than a high-scoring game. So I'm going to go with the under 3 goals for this one for sure.
Oh, okay, going with the under on 3 goals with that great goaltending that we saw in the Eastern Conference Finals. Maybe we see it again here in the first game of the season. All right, Mollie, to wrap, you know what we got to do. We discussed everything with you. I got to get you on record with some predictions. I did this all through the playoffs last year. Okay, where will the Rangers B, will they lose their season opener? Will it be win or lose in game one? And when it's all said and done, the season is over, will the Blueshirts hoist the Stanley Cup?
Honestly, in thinking about how the preseason went for the Rangers, it was a little blah for them. So I think that they're going to really come out tonight because they've been focusing on opening night for a really long time. So I'm going to take a Rangers win tonight. But when it comes to the Stanley Cup, I'm just not sure. A lot of things have to go right for the Rangers, just like it did last season. But they are more than capable of replicating their success last season and even building on it. So who knows? We'll just have to see.
Ah, everybody, you see what Molly did right there? That was like a half prediction,
good.
but not really a prediction. She didn't really go all the way in or go out on the limb there. But it's okay, Molly. We know we have a lot to talk about with the Rangers as we go through the season. That is the great Mollie Walker, beat reporter, New York Rangers for the New York Post. Molly, good to see you. Good to talk some Rangers hockey with you again.
Thanks for having me, Dexter.